All right, it's time now to welcome in Jeff Howe, who covers the Patriots for The Athletic. The Patriots didn't have to move at all, man. They stood pat at 15. How did Mac Jones end up falling into Bill Belichick's lap?
Yeah, I mean, really, the whole story started with San Francisco because nobody knew what the 49ers were going to do. And everybody sort of assumed it was going to be Mac Jones. That's what everybody around the league thought it was going to be. But that was all just an educated guess. The Niners were so secretive that they didn't tip anybody off. So once Jones slipped past San Francisco, they go with Trey Lance, then that opened the door. So it wasn't like a total twist of fate or like winning the lottery or anything like that. If Jones didn't go to 3, there was a chance that he was going to fall to 15. I thought the really interesting thing was that 2 quarterbacks fell out of the top 10. I mean, the fact that the Patriots had their chance if they wanted to trade up at Justin Fields or standing pat at 15 for Mac Jones, I thought that was really surprising. I would have bet my house that 4 quarterbacks would have gone in the top 10.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that the Patriots wanted Justin Fields, would have preferred Justin Fields?
Well, I mean, by their actions, no, because I think that was an affordable trade up. I mean, they liked Justin Fields. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I heard that too often this week. And that's going to be sort of the side story the rest of their careers, or at least for several years now. Which one of those guys has the better career? Because if the Patriots wanted to trade up for Fields, they could have made a move with the Cowboys, probably sending 15 and 46 to move up to 10. Or then at 11, if they wanted to outbid the Bears, you're talking at least 15 and then a first rounder next year. So that's a heavy price to pay to move up 4 or 5 spots. But we'll see. I mean, if Justin Fields has a substantially better career than Mac Jones over the course of several years, then we'll say that the Patriots should have been more aggressive and traded up. If they have equal careers or whatever, then the Patriots made the right choice. But I think the bottom line is the Patriots got their guy, and now they know what their future looks like.
Yeah, speaking of that future, how soon until he is going to be the man under center in Foxborough?
I have to believe, based off of last summer with giving Jarrett Stidham a chance to compete with Cam Newton, that they're going to do the same thing this summer with Mac Jones and Cam Newton. I mean, Belichick's never used a first-round pick on a quarterback, so he's not just using that pick to willfully discard Mac Jones for a year and say, you know what, 2022, you're up. Yeah, Belichick loves Cam Newton, but he's going to give Jones the chance to compete with him. And it'll be fascinating. I mean, really, I learned as much as I possibly could about Mac Jones over the last couple months. And I talked to people who said from the shoulders up, he was the smartest quarterback in the class, had everything that you wanted from a franchise caliber quarterback in his head, with his ability to process, his ability to understand offenses, read defenses. I mean, he's basically at a pro level right now. People who liked him more in that element than Trevor Lawrence. So they're 2 vastly different types of quarterbacks, and I think Mac Jones is going to be able to handle just about anything that Belichick and Josh McDaniels put on his plate. And I think it's going to be a fun quarterback competition to watch, especially in comparison to last summer. I mean, Jarrett Stidham had 4 bad days, then got hurt, and then boom, 2 weeks later, you're in the regular season. Right now, if the world continues to settle down more than it did in 2020, you're going to have, 5-6 weeks of quality quarterback competition. And I think Jones does have a realistic shot to win. I'm not going to predict him to win it right now, but I think he's got a shot.
All right, Jeff, before you take off here, rounds 2 and 3 is going to be tonight. The Patriots, as of now, just 1 pick in each round. What do they need to do?
Well, it's a deep pool of offensive tackles. So I think they can look and potentially get a guy that they can use as a rotational piece in year 1 and then maybe grow into a starting left or right tackle a year from now, or cornerback. I mean, you still have some questions about how long Stephon Gilmore and J.C. Jackson could be in town, if it's just going to be this year or whatever. You're going to not need to start grooming a cornerback. And then it's a great class of wide receivers. So the Patriots have to make sure that they're a little more active this year with that position than they were a year ago.